I was about to sit at the dinner table when my father pushed the chair away. Not gently. Not by accident. He looked directly at me and said, "That seat is for family." For a moment, the entire room went silent. My mother stared at her plate. My brother smirked. My sister pulled out her phone as if she already knew something embarrassing was about to happen. And the guests? They watched. Nobody spoke. Nobody defended me. Nobody even looked uncomfortable. It was as if they had all agreed that I didn't belong there. I stood frozen. 100 questions raced through my mind. What had I done? Why were they acting like this? And why did everyone seem prepared for this moment except me? Then my father spoke again. "You can sit in the kitchen." The room exploded with laughter. I felt my chest tighten. My face burned with humiliation. But what hurt most wasn't the laughter. It was the realization that my own family enjoyed watching me suffer. What they didn't know, what nobody in that room knew, was that within 24 hours, everything they had built would begin to collapse. And the reason would be me. But before I tell you what happened next, you need to understand how I became the outsider in my own family. Because that dinner wasn't the beginning. It was the final betrayal. And it started years earlier. The son nobody wanted. My name is Ethan Carter. I grew up in a wealthy family. At least, that's what everyone believed. We lived in a huge house, drove expensive cars, took luxury vacations. From the outside, we looked perfect. But inside those walls, we were broken. My father worshipped success. Money was everything to him. Status was everything. Image was everything. And, unfortunately, I was none of those things. My older brother Ryan was the golden child. Star athlete. Popular. Confident. Exactly the kind of son my father wanted. Then there was me. Quiet. Thoughtful. Interested in books instead of sports. I never fit the image he wanted to show the world. As a child, I spent years trying to earn his approval. Straight A's. Awards. Scholarships. None of it mattered. Because Ryan always came first. If Ryan scored a goal, the family celebrated. If I won an academic competition, nobody cared. I convinced myself things would get better. I believed one day they'd finally see me. One day they'd appreciate me. I was wrong. Because every year, things became worse. And eventually, they stopped pretending they loved me equally. The favoritism became obvious. Painfully obvious. But I stayed. Because family is family. Or, at least that's what I used to believe. Then came the business. The business that would change everything. The family business secret. My grandfather built Carter Holdings from nothing. A small construction company. Years of sacrifice. Years of hard work. Years of struggle. By the time he passed away, it was worth millions. Everyone assumed my father would inherit everything. But my grandfather was smarter than people realized. He knew my father cared more about appearances than responsibility. So before he died, he created a trust. And inside that trust was a condition. A condition nobody talked about. A condition nobody wanted me to know. The company could only remain under family control if all legal heirs maintained voting rights. That included me. At 18, I became a minority shareholder. A small percentage. Nothing major. At least that's what everyone thought. My father treated my shares like an inconvenience. He assumed I'd sign whatever paperwork he put in front of me. And for years I did. Because I trusted him. Then one day something strange happened. A lawyer contacted me. Not my father's lawyer. An independent attorney. She asked me a simple question. "Have you been informed about the proposed company sale?" I nearly laughed. Sale? What sale? Nobody had told me anything. The silence on the other end of the phone said everything. That's when I realized something terrible. My family wasn't just excluding me. They were hiding things from me. Big things. And if the sale happened, I could lose everything. The betrayal revealed. I started investigating. Quietly. Carefully. The deeper I looked, the worse it became. My father and Ryan were secretly negotiating a deal. A massive deal. A private investment group wanted to buy Carter Holdings. The sale was worth nearly $80 million. $80 million. And somehow nobody had mentioned it. Not my mother, not my siblings. Nobody. Then I discovered why. According to their plan, my shares would be diluted before the sale. Legally.
Technically.
But only because they assumed I wouldn't notice. My portion would become nearly worthless. Meanwhile, everyone else would receive enormous payouts. I felt sick. These weren't strangers. These were my parents, my brother, the people who were supposed to protect me. Instead, they were preparing to erase me. I confronted Ryan first. He didn't deny anything. He laughed. Actually laughed. You never contributed anyway. Those words shattered something inside me. Years of loyalty. Years of forgiveness. Years of hoping they'd finally accept me.
Gone.
In a single sentence. Then he said something even worse. Nobody takes you seriously, Ethan. That was the moment everything changed. I stopped seeking approval. I stopped chasing acceptance. I stopped caring what they thought. For the first time in my life, I started fighting back. The revenge plan. Most people think revenge is emotional, angry, impulsive. They're wrong. The best revenge is patient. The best revenge is strategic. And that's exactly what I became. Patient.
Strategic.
Dangerous. I hired attorneys, financial experts, corporate investigators. I reviewed every document connected to the trust, every clause, every signature, every amendment. Then I found it. The clause my grandfather had hidden. The clause nobody expected me to discover. Any attempt to dilute a legal heir's ownership without informed consent would automatically freeze a sale. Not temporarily.
Completely.
The transaction couldn't proceed until disputes were resolved. My father clearly never expected me to read the trust. And Ryan definitely never expected me to understand it. I stayed silent. I let them continue. I watched them celebrate. I watched them spend money they hadn't earned yet. I watched them plan their future. Then came the family dinner. The dinner where they humiliated me in front of everyone. The dinner where my father pushed my chair away. The dinner where Ryan laughed. The dinner where they believed they'd already won. What happened next? Nobody saw it coming. 6. The dinner that changed everything. The room was full of guests, business partners, friends, relatives, everyone important. My father stood proudly at the head of the table, talking about the future, talking about success, talking about the sale. Then he humiliated me. Again. The laughter spread across the room. But this time something was different. I wasn't hurt. I wasn't angry. I was calm. Completely calm. Because I knew something they didn't. I slowly stood up. Everyone watched. My father rolled his eyes. Ryan smiled. They thought I was about to leave. Instead, I spoke. You just made a very expensive mistake. The room fell silent. Nobody understood. My father laughed. What does that mean? I smiled. Then I pulled out my phone and pressed send. That's all. One message. One email. One legal filing. The attorneys had been waiting for my signal. Within minutes, the investment group received notice. The sale was frozen. Immediately, the room remained silent. Then my father's phone rang. He answered. His confidence vanished. A second phone rang. Then another. Ryan's face turned pale. They were learning the truth in real time. And everyone in that room watched it happen. Their world collapsed. Over the next 48 hours, chaos exploded. The investment group paused negotiations. Banks demanded explanations. Lawyers flooded the company. The media even started asking questions. Suddenly, the perfect family image was gone. My father called me repeatedly. I ignored every call. Ryan sent messages.
Dozens of them.
No response. For years they treated me like I didn't matter. Now I mattered more than anyone. Funny how quickly things change. 3 days later they requested a meeting. For the first time in my life, they were asking, not demanding, asking. I agreed. When I entered the conference room, nobody looked confident anymore. Nobody looked powerful. They looked scared. My father tried to speak. I stopped him. For years I had listened. Now it was their turn. I explained everything.
The trust.
The violations, the legal consequences, the risks. Their faces became whiter with every sentence. Then Ryan finally asked the question, "What do you want?" The answer shocked them. I didn't want money. I didn't want revenge payments. I didn't want control. I wanted respect. Real respect. For the first time in their lives, they had to see me as an equal. And they hated it, because respect can't be bought. It must be earned. 8. The final lesson. The sale eventually happened, but on very different terms. Fair terms. Legal terms. Terms that protected every shareholder, including me. My father never apologized properly. Ryan never admitted he was wrong. Some people are too proud for that. But their actions changed. And sometimes actions matter more than words. The dinner table incident became family legend. Not because I got revenge. Not because the sale was delayed. But because it exposed the truth. The truth that power isn't about money. It isn't about status. And it isn't about making others feel small. Real power comes from knowing your worth. For years, I let people decide my value. My parents. My brother. My family. The moment I stopped doing that, everything changed. So, if you've ever been treated like you don't belong, if you've ever been ignored, rejected, humiliated, remember this. The people who underestimate you today may be the same people asking for your help tomorrow. And when that day comes,
Stay calm.
stay smart, and let your success speak louder than your pain. Because sometimes the strongest revenge isn't hurting those who hurt you. It's proving they were wrong about you all along. The night they pushed my chair away, they thought they were removing me from the table. They never realized I owned part of the table itself. And that changed everything.
The end.